Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming, and Sunny Mountain Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you with the Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the Worlds. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. A youthful voice echoes from the depths of her workshop. It's a tiger cub, no older than 12 years old, bringing in a heavy bucket of water. Shut your trap! Never naysay me in front of a customer! She bops her head towards the kid. He must be her apprentice. You taught a tiger our tongue? My friend and protege, she corrects him. The cub wanted to honor me by learning some of my mother tongue. Who am I to object? There are no elders to demand either of our bloods here. Though I must commend your nerve for calling me out, when you've clearly done the same with this wee fella. How come his pink little head isn't on a pike yet? I think we're getting off topic. I poke Ranok into his side. I understand all this is somewhat new and troubling for him, but I really need shoes, and this is the only person that can help me with that. Please forgive us. It's our first time in Strandbard. It takes some time to adjust. I bet. She gives a reluctant glance to Ranok, but quickly turns to face me. So, if it's shoes you want, I would have to measure your feet and create a custom list. The ones I have were made for men twice your size. Would that take long? I ask, and the female shrugs. A day or so, then the actual shoemaking could start. I'm afraid we're rather short on time, though. Perhaps we could settle for sandals, I propose, to which she nods idly. Yeah, that would work. I could knock out a pair in a few hours if you need them today, which by the looks of things you do. Yeah, how much would that cost? If you're looking for comfortable and quality leather, then it'll be 8 silver plus 1 extra for priority. Sounds good? Ranok squints his eyes, and I wonder if perhaps we're already overdoing it with this shopping expedition, but the female quickly dispels my misgivings. Seems your master doesn't like me. I find it hard to trust those who turn their back on their people. Sometimes it's the people who turn their back on you, pup. But you're young, and in right company. You'll learn that soon enough. She straightens up, correcting her apron. Well then, shall we get going? Oh, yes. Come, I'll need to mark out a silhouette of your soles and measure the length of the midpoint of your calves. The female invites us in, raising the part of her counter that doubles as a door. The workshop, which is fully open to the street on one end, is still quite dim and infused with a leathery scent. Makes sense, after all, that's what she's working with. Various shelves are filled with either bolts of leather or tools, while the floor is littered with bits of clothing and armor. There are even 2 fully dressed mannequins sporting quite impressive items. One graphite blue vest with nicely embossed edges draws my attention, but my browsing is quickly dismissed by her pointing at a small stool. Sit down and grab some chalk. Sit down and I'll grab some chalk. I do as requested, and she returns promptly, pulling some thick strap of leather underneath my foot. I watch as the female outlines my feet with extra care, every now and then stopping to correct a slight mistake or check if the profile looks good. It feels awkward, so I decide to break the silence. You're very focused. You've done this before? You have no idea how many pairs of human shoes I've mended. We're the first large settlement between Tigeron and whatever's out there. The shoes break and need mending. Makes for good business. Is good business why you were here? Money? Ranok sneers in a cold, dismissive tone, but the female takes no bait. Does it matter? I'm just curious. For someone claiming you aren't looking for trouble, you do seem to be itching for some. Please forgive him, it's just a touchy subject. I interject, looking at her apologetically, and the female shrugs. Why should it be? My personal history has nothing to do with him. I wince, looking to Ranok with worry. Perhaps it's not my secret to spill, but again, who would she share this with? And, in truth, I hope that her own perspective might shed some light on things Ranok overlooks. He was once tempted to leave Tyranny, but chose to remain. Mistakes were made. Me not running off wasn't a mistake. Ranok nearly snarls, drawing an equally challenging gaze from the female. Me running off wasn't one either. But if you must know, I have no secrets. Judging by your gear and shameless crest flashing, I infer that you're just young, born into position, ignorant and naive. She darts her gaze between his belt and my neck. Fuck, I keep forgetting about the damn collar. I used to live in Lothian. My father was an outer alpha. I lived comfortably and quite contently, safe in the knowledge that I was matched with a friend I cared for. Were you in love? Maybe. She paused, rubbing her chin in genuine confusion. I never got to clarify her feelings, as he died young during a hunt. A massive boar charged out of nowhere and gutted him on the spot, and that was that. So sorry, is that why you left? Partially. The female shrugs. But it's my father who forced my paw. Once I was free to my match, he could promise me to whoever. I wasn't of age yet. To cement his friendship with our overlord, he offered me to him. A gruesome, nasty-looking old fart with a mean streak and penchant for abuse. The disgust in her tone is almost palatable, but she quickly sighs it away. I felt trapped and desperate the closer our mating approached. It was settled for spring equinox. It was a harsh winter that year, apparently one of the worst in living memory. I noticed Ranok's ears discreetly owning in on her, even though he pretends to be disinterested. Food was scarce and the tensions were high. One night a group of wolves were caught stealing from the granaries. They got branded and banished. As it happened, one of them was my friend's lover. He was stealing the food for her and her ward. She told me she couldn't live without him, and that she would rather be caught trying to leave than stay another day. I give her a sorrowful look, but she remains focused on outlining my feet. I realized there and then that I was of the same mind. I'd rather be dead than carry pups of that nasty tyrant with nothing keeping me back. I simply left with her the very same night and never looked back. Don't you miss your family? Ranok asked idly, his eyes barely meeting with hers, almost as if he felt ashamed. Not one fucking bit. It's like, no, water time. Alright, guys and gals, and we are back. Let's jump back into it, shall we? Okay. The female laughs, rubbing her nose and getting up to her paws. I was 6 from my father and 4 from my mother. I was a spare to both of them, and my siblings were massive cunts. I was only good for breeding and securing alliances. Anyway, that's done. She points to my feet, and I get off the stool. How much will it be? 9 silver. He rummages in his purse and passes the coins to her, as she gives him a confused look. You're paying for it? Is there a problem with that? No, just not a thing most Tiernan wolves would do, spend money on their wards. I'm not most wolves. Clearly. She mutters with clear curiosity, but the exchange is interrupted by a loud, cheerful voice ringing from outside. Sloane, you mad bitch! Stay away from my son! I'm tired of picking his puked-up ass from every damn tavern in the city! A male tiger laughs, plopping his elbows onto the counter. Perhaps he should learn to pace himself, or simply change the object of his advances. Can you blame the lad for trying? He almost purrs at her as she leans onto the larder. Like father, like son, she mutters seductively. You both might be felines on the outside, but you're clearly dogs on the inside. You know it, Toots. Anyway, came to pick up my belt. Sloane nods and disappears momentarily beneath the counter. There you go. Added some reinforcement around the latch. She plops it onto the top with a loud thud. The male inspects it with a smile. Should hold even if you continue to bloat like a frog. Fuck you too, Sloane. In your dreams. Well, I better get going before the missus becomes too annoyed. See you later, and stellar work as always. You seem to fit right in. Ranok comments, and it's hard to discern whether he means it as a compliment or an insult. Anyone fits in Strandbard. He shrugs, to which the wolf nods towards me. Even him? Especially him. Unlike us, humans don't come with the baggage of prejudice to contend with. If anything, the tigers feel pity for them. They seem fond of the buggers. I grimace slightly. Although a nice sentiment at face value, I don't like getting special treatment because I'm an endangered species. It's almost like those annoying people who get exotic pets because they look cool. Right, anyway, were you a leather worker before you left Tiernan? I offer a change of subject. Seems your work is quite praised. Nope. The female retorts casually. All my father needed from me was squirting out pups. I wasn't taught any trade back home. I frown, unable not to think about Cora, the shitty situation she's in. All I know I learned right here. Sloane pats the counter of her shop. I was taken in by a tiger master as an apprentice. Learned the trade from him, and now I'm slowly taking over. That's a bit unusual, isn't it, for someone to give up their entire business to a stranger? His only son died in Euron, fighting the Wolven Horde, and that boy back there... She bops her head towards the back room. His grandson. Far too young to run this place. That's where I come in. I'm simply in charge until the boy comes of age. And he entrusted you with this, even though a wolf killed his son and heir. Unlike us, my crest-wearing friend, tigers live in the wider world where one kin isn't treated as a collective. I mean, for crying out loud, there are 2 Leonin realms in Euron. They both hate each other. The female almost laughs, drawing an amused snort from Ranok. It's not like our people get along that much better. Exactly. You should forget that noise and simply settle here, kid. She swishes her paws dismissively and looks at Ranok intently. Thank you for your advice, but I'll pass. I mean it. Tigeron is everything people say it is and more. We have real freedom here. Even if I were to believe that, I can't. He replies coldly, only egging her on. Why? Because I have duties and responsibilities. That's what they tell you. She rolls her eyes and throws her head in the imaginary direction of Tiernan. My duty was to breed. Yours is to die for the glory of our people. Fuck that shit. It's not that simple. It very much is. She insists, causing Ranok to suppress a growl. Look, I'm sorry your tribe has failed you. I'm sorry you were treated like a spare part, but if we all simply take off and leave, there'll be no one left to ensure that things do change. Change? She scoffs and blinks in feigned amusement. Things haven't changed for centuries because the system our ancestors established is resilient to change. That's not true. Wake up, kid. A false sense of hope is how they get you tricked into following orders, staying in line, and wishing for the best. That hope is all I have. Ranok looks at her sternly and her expression softens. Why? Why would you ever cling to such a blatant lie? Because I'm going to lead my people one day, and I have to believe I can do better. Because if I don't do it, no one will. At first, it seems she understood his point, but quickly waves her paws at him. Alphas don't mean anything in the grand scheme of... I'm not just an alpha. I'm also the future chief. Moonlit shit! Someone's unlucky. She utters breathlessly, looking at Ranok with honest pity. If I don't take my place in the tribe, someone much worse could. I frown, with my heart sinking to my stomach. All this time I didn't even consider how crushing his fate must feel. He's virtually blackmailed into fulfilling his role regardless of what he wants. That's fucked up. No one should be forced in such a position. Sloane voices my inner thoughts. It's not an enviable one, that's for sure. But on the bright side, you seem to be on the right track. I never thought I would live to see such an unlikely friendship. Ranok smiles softly and nods towards me. Don't mean to be rude, but we have an important meeting to attend to. It would be great if we could get this done. Oh, yeah, I guess we did get slightly sidelined. I've got some orders to finish as well. Are we going simple or extravagant? She looks to me, and my confused expression prompts her to continue. I wouldn't suggest anything too ornate, but something at least matching the tunic. Yes, make them comfortable and decent looking. Of course. She nods, rummaging through various boxes. She returns with a small pelt and glides it across my skin. It's hard not to laugh as it tickles. How does this feel? Quite pleasant. Good. We'll go with calfskin then. Sloane smiles and begins arranging various small patches of skins across my calves. Alright, y'all, I'm actually going to pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to have a quick shout out to all of our lovely patrons. Thank you all for everything you do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!